Hey train fans, you've probably heard about the Midwest Rail project that's been in the works for years. Well, guess what? The first Amtrak Midwest Venture Cabcar has finally been completed at the Siemens facility, and it looks amazing. So what's the big deal? What makes this cabcar different from the rest? In today's episode of Great Trainspeed, we're taking you behind the scenes to check out the features, the design, and what it means for the future of train travel in the region. Let's recall that the Venture family was developed as part of a broader plan to support faster, more frequent service on medium-distance routes. Manufactured in Sacramento, these cars share a design lineage with Siemens Charger locomotives, creating a unified fleet with simpler maintenance, easier training, and more consistent performance. Today, Venture coaches are already in active service with VIA Rail Canada, Brightline in Florida, the new Amtrak Aero, Amtrak Midwest, and Amtrak California, where they play a major role on the state-supported San Joaquins, or as we call it today, Gold Runner. In 2024, the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority introduced the Siemens Venture train sets to the Amtrak Gold Runner corridor. This rollout included not only the standard Venture coach cars, but also the Venture Cabcar, giving the San Joaquins a far more flexible and modern push-pull operation. For a corridor that makes frequent directional changes and operates under tight station turnaround times, this is a major operational improvement. For viewers new to the concept, a cab car is a fully functional driving cab placed at the end of the train opposite the locomotive. The Siemens Venture Cabcar continues the tradition of push-pull efficiency, but with significant upgrades. A train can arrive at its final station, unload passengers, and depart in the opposite direction minutes later. This is especially valuable for the San Joaquins, which frequently operates out of terminal stations where time is tight and turning a train around is simply not practical. With California now operating its own Venture-equipped sets, it's a good moment to look eastward. Siemens began building the Midwest Venture fleet in 2021, with early prototype testing wrapped up by 2023. By mid-2024, the Siemens Venture set were carrying passengers on multiple Midwest routes, giving riders an early taste of the new rolling stock. Now, the first Amtrak Midwest Venture Cabcar, built at Siemens Mobility's Florin, California facility, has somewhat leaked on Reddit, as online photos of the nearly finished car surfaced. That sighting marked an important milestone for the broader Midwest Consortium order, which includes multiple Venture coaches and cafe cars. Built as part of the Venture Series fleet, the car combines the passenger comfort of modern coaches with the control technology of the Siemens Charger SC-44 locomotive. Its purpose is simple yet transformative to enable push-pull operation, allowing a train to run in either direction without turning the locomotive. The Venture Cabcar isn't a retrofitted baggage car or a recycled locomotive shell. It's a purpose-built hybrid streamlined like a passenger coach, but engineered for command. The car shares the same aluminum body and low-floor layout as the rest of the Venture fleet, yet its front adopts the muscular face of the Charger SC-44 with a squared-off profile built for safety and strength rather than aerodynamics. Compared to the sleeker ALC-42 locomotives that haul Amtrak's long-distance trains, the SC-44 style nose looks more industrial. But that choice fits the Midwest. These short-haul routes see constant stops, dense crossings, and tight approaches. Here, durability and visibility matter far more than cutting drag. Unlike the standard Venture coaches, this cab car has been configured specifically for the Wisconsin Department of Transportation to lead trains on the busy Hiawatha corridor between Chicago and Milwaukee, enabling true push-pull operation without positioning a locomotive at both ends. This upgrade stems from a $25.7 million federal-state partnership for State of Good Repair grant, awarded to Wisconsin Department of Transportation in 2019 to modernize the Hiawatha fleet. With this funding, the state is acquiring 3 cab coach cars and 6 additional coaches, all of which will join the broader Midwest rail equipment pool already being manufactured for 8 regional routes. By integrating the new cab car into this shared fleet, the Hiawatha service, already the busiest corridor in the Midwest, could improve its service. In 2025, the Hiawatha managed to carry 631,990 passengers, a 5% drop from its previous year, which was 665,279. When the new cab cars first appeared online, the reaction from rail fans and passengers was anything but unanimous. One user shared their view, saying, "Thanks for sharing and glad to see them, but I wish they had the more streamlined nose of the ALC 42s. The SC 44 style nose these have is ugly, but I guess it's distinctive." With one replied, "Function over form? I personally like having the destination sign on the Cascades Chargers, because at Seattle, there's usually two side by side, and you can't always hear the announcements. And in Portland, there's a window every day where the station is boarding 3 trains at the same time, sometimes 4 if trains are really late." Others shared their hope that preserving heritage is also being considered, with one saying, "Hopefully some of the cabbages will be preserved." One user backed up that idea, especially Engine 9-0200. It's the very first F40PH ever built, and it should be painted in Amtrak Phase 2 as a special heritage unit before retiring. On one side, there was real excitement. Some people called the train beautiful and said they couldn't wait to see it leading Hiawatha trains next year. Others were just happy to finally have a cab car that, in their words, looks good, noting that most cab cars in the past just looked like bricks. For them, this design felt like a fresh, modern face for the corridor. But the praise came with plenty of criticism and sarcasm. "Oh boy, can't wait for these to be a year late to enter service and unable to be used even when they do. The only thing bothering me is the dots going outside the white lines when they are inside the lines on the SC44. There was also genuine confusion and debate about the nose design itself. One person pointed out that a damaged Midwest SC44 had been rebuilt with an ALC42 style nose, and wondered if that should become the standard, speculating that it might perform better in crashes or be easier to repair. Others hoped the newer look would become permanent, saying it was 100 times better than the old SC42 face. In contrast, another voice jumped in with, "No, I love the notched nose. It looked so futuristic." Taken together, the comments show a community that's deeply engaged, not just with how the train runs, but how it looks, how safe it feels, and whether it truly represents progress for the network they care about. Like many large-scale rail projects in the U.S., the rollout of Amtrak's Midwest Venture fleet has faced its share of delays and unexpected hurdles. The new coaches, business class, and cafe cars were meant to ease Amtrak's equipment shortage as travel demand rebounded. Instead, late deliveries and technical fixes pushed back their full deployment and added to an already strained system. The first Venture cars began arriving in 2020, but soon after entering service, several were withdrawn due to an unusual issue. Despite the setbacks, the Midwest Venture project is now turning a corner. The cab car program is advancing. The question now isn't whether the Venture fleet will succeed, but how much it can reshape corridor rail in the U.S. Each new consist entering service represents a quiet milestone toward modern, efficient, passenger-focused travel. As a rail fan, what do you think? Drop 1 if this feels like a real step forward for Amtrak, and 0 if you see it differently. Your thoughts keep the conversation moving. After years of testing and delays, the Venture fleet is finally finding its rhythm. When the first cab car leads a train out of Chicago, it will mark a new era for Amtrak's Midwest service. Big news for Detroit. Amtrak is expanding service and Michigan Central Station is back in the spotlight. This historic building, once left behind during the city's automobile boom, has reopened with a celebration that signals change. The station has seen decades of decline, but now it's being positioned as a cornerstone of Detroit's future. What exactly has it gone through, and what's next for the city's rail system? In this episode of Great Trainspeed, we'll break down the past struggles and the ambitious plans now announced for Michigan Central Station. For 75 years, the depot carried Detroiters off to war, welcomed them home, sent them on vacations, and reunited them with family. It echoed with the sounds of hellos and goodbyes, panting locomotives, and the screech of steel wheels. Then, for 3 decades, it became a playground for vandals and thrill seekers. Wind whistling through broken windows replaced the deep-throated whistles of trains. Now, after an extraordinary investment by Ford Motor, a feat many said was impossible, America's most notorious ruin has been restored to its former glory, just as it looked 111 years ago. On February 20th, 2024, a cryptic projection lit up the station's front and rear facades. The next morning, Michigan Central confirmed the station's grand reopening celebration would begin on June 6th with a concert featuring some of Detroit's biggest music stars. But this is only the beginning, and more is on the way. Curious about what's next? Stay tuned for the next chapter, and if you enjoyed this story, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future updates from our channel.
I am excited to announce a new transportation hub that revitalized Michigan Central Station.
In a major step toward reshaping regional mobility, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer announced that passenger rail service is poised to return to the area surrounding Detroit's historic Michigan Central Station. Speaking during a recent news conference inside the newly restored landmark, Whitmer revealed that trains could once again serve the station area and potentially connect Detroit to Toronto as early as 2029. The announcement marks one of the most ambitious transportation investments Detroit has seen in decades, signaling a renewed commitment to public transit and cross-border connectivity. At the heart of this vision is a multimodal transportation hub planned for construction just southwest of the station. The Michigan Department of Transportation, the City of Detroit, and Ford's Michigan Central Innovation Campus have formally signed a memorandum of understanding to advance the project. With a $40 million commitment to research and engineering work alone, the hub represents a significant financial undertaking. Still, Michigan leaders argue that the long-term value, including economic revitalization, expanded transit access, and international connectivity, can make the investment essential. The development of an intermodal station on the Michigan Central campus aligns with long-term Amtrak goals to expand service with our partners at the Michigan Department of Transportation, including our work with VIA Rail and Transport Canada to restore an international connection between Chicago and Toronto through Detroit and Windsor, Amtrak said in a statement. The proposed hub would restore passenger trains to the station area for the first time since 1988. Under the current concept, the Chicago-Detroit Amtrak corridor would be extended through the Detroit River to Windsor and continue eastward to Toronto. Such a connection would create one of the most significant cross-border passenger rail links in the region, offering travelers a seamless route between two of North America's major cities. For Detroit, a city that has worked for years to rebuild and expand its public transit network, this represents a transformational step forward. For decades, Michigan Central Station was the gateway to Detroit, and we are excited to begin the work of re-establishing train service at a new multimodal transit facility in the shadow of the station, the Chief of Infrastructure for the City of Detroit, Sam Krasenstein, said. Detroiters deserve a first-class facility for bus and train service, and this agreement puts us on a path to make it happen. By clustering multiple transit modes in one location, planners hope to create a system that reduces car dependency, supports economic development, and strengthens Detroit's growing reputation as a center for innovation. In a written statement, Whitmer added that downtown Detroit is open for business and on the move as one of the best places to live, work, and pioneer cutting-edge ideas.
Really exciting to see that iconic piece of Detroit be a part of transportation again.
Amtrak's Michigan fiscal year 2025 numbers paint a clear picture of growing momentum across three key routes in the region. The Wolverine line, which connects major cities across Michigan, continued to lead the way, increasing its ridership from 425,832 passengers in 2024 to 438,427 in 2025. The Père Marquette route also saw steady growth, climbing from 94,381 riders in 2024 to 97,177 in 2025. Meanwhile, the Blue Water line moved from 174,862 riders in 2024 to 177,739 in 2025, reinforcing the upward trend across the system. This rising ridership highlights a regional shift toward rail as a practical and appealing mode of travel. Whether for work, school, or leisure, passengers are embracing train service, emphasizing the growing role of Amtrak in connecting communities and supporting the future of transportation. As plans move forward, community leaders, transit advocates, and regional planners will be watching closely. If successful, the Michigan Central Hub could mark a new chapter in the state's transportation landscape, reconnecting Detroit to its past while charting a bold route toward its future. With this announcement on the horizon, how are citizens reacting? Before we dive deeper, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Could this hub truly transform the way people travel across Michigan and beyond? Drop a 1 if you believe it will, or a 0 if you're still unsure. This announcement from the government brings huge excitement to the citizens, sparking hope for a future of improved connectivity, economic growth, and renewed pride in their city. Many see it not only as a transportation project, but also as a symbol of Detroit's resurgence, a powerful reminder that the community is moving forward together. This would be great. Let's hope she can get it done. Detroit is very underserved, and there would be a lot of demand for Detroit to New York, whether it goes across Ontario or down through Toledo and Cleveland. One Redditor shared their opinion. On the Canadian side, they are planning on building HSR between Toronto and Quebec City. This connection might be a good push for them to build it all the way to Windsor, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, Quebec City. All fantastic visits. Another shared their optimistic view of how this project will open up an international connection. But a lot of people don't think that Canada could chime in to help this rail dream become materialized. Canadian here to point out that Canadian funding for the Detroit-Windsor passenger link is far from certain given the government's current fiscal environment and the state of the cross-border relationship. One shared their honest review, while another Redditor backed up this idea, saying, "Canada has contributed basically nothing to Cascade service for many years. We had to practically beg them to provide custom staff for a second daily train. Not to mention the immediate crawling pace the train takes as soon as it enters Canada. It shouldn't take as long to get from Bellingham to Vancouver as it does from Bellingham to Seattle." And it seems like it's not the first time Canada pulled this stunt, with another one sharing. Adirondack has similar issues, and I'm sure the Maple Leaf would be in the same boat if it weren't for Metrolinx owning most of the Ontario portion of the tracks. Makes sense when you look at how they treat Via Rail. Yeah, Canada is supposed to be progressive and all, but they make Amtrak look like a world-class railroad. Others remain cautious. Concern about cost overruns, construction delays, and long-term feasibility linger. $40 million would be far better spent on infrastructure, with the goal of bringing the current service to 4+ trips daily. Chicago-Toronto, without spending a lot of money on high-speed rail, is still going to be around 10 hours. You're not pulling traffic from airlines with that. So if you're not adding frequency, it's $40 million spent to not increase service passenger counts. Plus, passengers still have to transfer to a Via Rail Canada train, so what the hell is the point anyway? Detroit's rail story is coming full circle. After decades of silence and decline, Michigan Central Station is becoming the launchpad for a bold new era. The journey is only just beginning. Stay tuned for the next chapter. Until then, stay safe, train hard, and be ready. We'll be right there to drive you forward when the next action arrives.